Hey guys, in the media this week we've been seeing lots of stuff about the two guys in England cutting off the soldier's head in a public place. And interestingly, those guys did that with the intention of drawing the attention to what's going on in the Middle East, and they were successful, it appears, because there's been a lot of people talking about the drone strike thing. So there's been that happen, and then a couple of weeks ago we saw, or some of us might have seen, there was a guy went before a judicial subcommittee or some group of American politicians, and he was an American citizen who'd lived in the mountains in Afghanistan, I think, and lived in some village somewhere, and apparently they didn't care either way. The people in that village were just doing their thing and didn't really care what was going on outside their village, didn't really give a shit. And apparently the Muslim extremist groups used to come along and try and get them to join up to go and fight against America and fight against the Westerners, you know. And the people in that village used to say no. Search this. I wish I could remember. We'll put something in the comment section, the name of this guy, so you can search it and find it. It's on YouTube, it's all over the place, and you can watch this guy being telling his story. Fascinating story. So anyway, he says that, you know, the extremists kept coming to his village and saying, come and join us and fight the infidels and all this sort of stuff. You know, let's go and kill the whiteys, you know. And these people in this village went, no, we're not into it, don't care what's going on outside this village, not interested, you know. And then one of these extreme Islamist dudes came along and was in a house in this village, and the American drone came over the top and dropped a bomb on it, hit this house and killed lots of people. And overnight, everybody in this town turned around and said, okay, that's it, we hate America. And then suddenly there's a whole heap of people in that town that were prepared to support the Islamic extremists. And if we can stay cool and keep our emotions under control and just listen to what that dude is saying and think about what's going on there, we totally understand. Because look at the reverse. We totally understand when aeroplanes hit the World Trade Center. We totally understand how pissed off everybody becomes about that. Or how, you know, in Bali there was a bunch of Australians in a bar in Bali a few years ago, you know, and some Islamic extremists set off a car bomb then and slaughtered heaps of Australians in that bar. And, you know, this week in England, you know, the soldier having his head cut off. And we all totally understand how that makes us feel, you know, and how emotional that can make us when we hear a story like that. A bunch of Aussies having fun in a bar, getting drunk, and suddenly someone blows them all up. Or a bunch of Americans hard at work at 9 o'clock in the morning, working their hearts off at their workplace, and innocent people and getting killed by somebody flying an aeroplane into it. Or, you know, all the other stories that keep coming up. So we understand when it happens to us. So we should understand that it's exactly the same. And to be honest, guys, I can't see the difference. I can't see the difference between the Boston bomb, and we have to try and stay a bit calm while we think about this. Think about it first before we get emotional. I can't see the difference between the Boston bomb, where you've got a whole bunch of people just doing their thing, and all of a sudden, bang, and all these innocent people get killed and bits blown off and all sorts of nasty stuff happen. Or the people in that mountain village in Afghanistan who are sitting around having dinner and doing their thing, and they're playing with their kids and doing everything, and suddenly, bang, and half their family's dead, and the neighbours are dead, and the people across the street are dead. I can't see the difference. We call one terrorism. We call the Boston bomb terrorism, and we call the Bali bomb, where the Aussies died, terrorism. And the Afghanistan one, what do we call that? We call it something like a surgical strike, because it sounds better, doesn't it? It sounds better than saying an anonymous bomb being thrown out of the sky. But to the people that are there, that are people that are actually there and the victim of that bomb, there's no difference. What's the difference? The only difference is the delivery system. You know, the one at Boston and the one in Bali were delivered by lunatics on foot. The one in the mountains was delivered by a drone. There's no difference to the people sitting there. If you're just sitting there doing your thing and suddenly there's a bang, you don't care if someone's delivered it on foot or someone's dropped it from a drone. There's no difference. There's absolutely no difference. But when we're the victim of it, we call it terrorism. And when we do it to somebody else, we call it a surgical strike. You know, and it's a cycle. If we listen to these nut jobs, why they do this shit. I mean, there's extremists on both sides of the fence that are causing all this crap. It's the innocent people in the middle that are getting killed, as always with wars. It's the innocent people in the middle that are getting killed. But if you listen to the extremists on both sides of this crap, you'll see why it continues. You know, so some idiot comes and puts a bomb in a place like that, and then suddenly you've got a government or a bunch of governments. You know, it's not just the American government. You know, the English government, the British government followed them, and the Australian government followed them, and a whole heap of other governments followed them, and off into other people's countries and throwing bombs and killing people all over the place. Then those people get pissed off, and then want to come and strike back. You know, it's no difference. Our behaviour is no different. The bullshit that we're told about the excuses for this crap, you know, war against terror is not what it is. It's a war of terror. There's a reason that these people are coming to our countries and killing our civilians is because we're in their country killing their civilians. The reaction is exactly the same. 9/11 happens, the Bali bombings happen, you know, the British attacks happen, and that previously they had bombings as well in Britain, and people get all against it. Right, well, let's go and fight some Islamics, you know, let's go and fight some, and they're doing the same thing. We throw a bomb in their village and kill all heaps of innocent people, and then they're saying, well, let's go and kill those infidels. It's exactly the same. There's no difference. The human reaction is reacting to exactly the same thing. Same bombs, different delivery system, different technology. One's delivered on a donkey by a guy walking on foot, one's delivered from a drone. The actual explosion itself is exactly the same. It's just the technology that's different. You know, the result is the same. So, you know, I think we have to start. There's extremists on both sides of this fence that are causing this shit, and there's moderates on both sides that are trying to stop it. Now, I think what's happening in the Islamic world is that the real Islamists that really believe in God and people not killing each other are trying to tell the extremists to stop doing it. Come on, guys, be cool, don't be bombing other people. And then while they're saying it, you know, here comes another drone strike or another, and more people are getting killed. You know, and then the same thing's happening over here. You've got the reasonable people in the Western world saying, look, you know, just be cool, we no need to go invade other people's countries, and then suddenly there's another Boston bombing or another explosion going on here. So it's not helping the cause. But what we need to do is we need to start showing the way that it can be done. And so, for example, my argument would be, if you can drop, and this isn't just drones, it's not about the drones are irrelevant. Take every drone out of the picture, and then the Western military will just use stealth aircraft, or they'll use missiles, or they'll use some other technology. The drone is just a delivery system, it's irrelevant. There's been a whole heap of stuff the last couple of weeks arguing against drone strikes. Well, yeah, the drone itself's irrelevant. I'd argue against the bombings. I'd say that if you know that a dude is in that room, how come they know the guy is in that house or the guy's in that car? Why can't they go and get him? And that's what this guy said that was testifying that actually lived in that village. He said, we knew where he was. He was in the house down the street. We all knew where he was. So if the military had turned up, and that country's military, not the American military, but if that country's military had turned up and said, where is he? They go down the street and there he is in that house. They drag him out of the house, they take him off, and they put him before a court. And that's the other thing, is that the way of dealing with these guys by precision bombings and precision airstrikes and things like that is, what sort of example is that setting to the world? That's saying, we think that someone's bad, we'll just blow them up. Well, you know, oh, this is war. Yeah, well, okay, if this is war, the other guys can do it too. You know, this is what we have to remember. Whatever rule we make for ourselves, we have to accept if the other guys do it too. So saying, oh, we can just bomb anybody we want. If we think they're a threat to our country, we'll just kill them. Well, okay, but if you do that, that's open warfare, and that means they can do it too. Look back to World War II. You know, the Germans were bombing London's cities, you know, and killing everybody in the cities, you know. And then and the British were doing the same thing to the Germans. You know, whatever rules we make, the other people are going to do it too. So if our rule is we can kill anybody that we think's a threat, plus anybody in their vicinity, so their next door neighbours, the people across the street, the family walking past, the people driving past in their car, anybody else who's within, you know, 500 metres of that person will die as well, and they're all innocent. It's the same as us. If we've got one bad one, imagine if they did it in our country. If you've got a criminal living in your street, and the government's solution to it was to drop a bomb on that guy's house, and they get him, they get the criminal, but they kill everybody else as well. It's not acceptable, is it? So if we know there's a criminal in that house or in that car, we have to go and get that criminal, bring him out, put him before a magistrate or a judge, prove that he's guilty, then we can deal with him. If he's a terrorist and he's killed lots of people, put him to death, but do it legally. Put him in front of a judge, prove what he's done, then punish him appropriately. Life in jail or death or whatever he deserves for his crime under the law. Under the law. Because what we've got at the moment is we've got extremists on both sides. The normal people in the middle going, what the hell's happening? And we've got extremists on both sides. We've got the George Bush characters on one side and you've got the Osama bin Laden guys on the other side, and they're two teams. I mean, both those guys are out of the game at the moment, but the two teams are still playing by the same rules, and they're both behaving as badly as each other, and it's perpetuating itself, and it's not going to stop. You know, it's not. This isn't all the bullshit that we're told about. It's the Muslim people don't like the freedom of America and don't like the freedom of the West, and they don't. Bullshit. Bullshit. As we've talked before about in our videos, there's a lot of countries in Europe that have a lot more freedoms than America does, and there's a lot more countries in Europe that have a lot more freedoms than a lot of other Western countries do. Nobody's bombing them. You know, look at this. You know, nobody. I don't see it happening. I don't see it happening in Holland. Sitting around smoking joints and screwing women and watching pornography and having a great time there. They got no problems happening there. So you know. We're perpetuating it. You keep throwing bombs in other people's countries, it's going to make them hate you and they're going to want to come and get you. So we need to start behaving ourselves. There's a bad guy in that house down there or in that car down there, go and get him, put him before a judge, and get the people in that country to do it. If he's in Pakistan, get the Pakistani military to do it. Go with them if you want to. You know, we want to send an observer, but we want your people to get your bad guy. And we'll come with you and watch if you don't mind. Just so that everything's above board, right? There's no sort of, okay, let him get away or anything like that. We'll come with you and have a look. But let them do it. Because that's the other thing. A lot of people in these countries don't want other people's militaries coming in and dictating what goes on. You know, we've got to stop that too. And then think twice where we send our military. You know, this isn't an anti-American thing. There's always some idiot, some asshole who watches 5 minutes of one of my videos and tells me I'm anti-American. That's bullshit. The point is that America happens to lead the way on this shit, so they're going to be in the firing line of the topic. But it's not just America. It's Britain as well. It's my old country, Australia as well. It's everybody that supports them. Any country who's not saying to America, "Don't go in there," is also to blame. Because it's the Western countries that support that behaviour that are causing the problem. Or it's perpetuating the problem, not just causing it, perpetuating the problem. We need to start thinking twice before we send our militaries into other people's countries. You know, look, sometimes I understand, like Afghanistan with the Taliban, and they are some crazy ass bastards, and you know, sometimes it's a humane thing to go and help. But we just need to think about it a little bit more before we do these things, and we need to do these things on a multinational, unilateral level, rather and a bit more softly as regards to the local population. You know, there'd be people in Afghanistan who were unhappy as they were under the Taliban, but now hate the Westerners' guts because we've gone in there and killed their families innocently. Fired some bomb at their village and killed their family. They were just minding their own business. They hated the Taliban sucked dicks, and suddenly these Westerners turn up and start bombing their village and kill their family. Well, the Taliban never did that. They hated the Taliban, but they fucking hate the Westerners because of the shit we've done to them. It's just obvious. I don't understand how inhumanely we can see other people. How that we think that, you know, one American or one Australian or one British person, if they die, is a terrible tragedy. And that soldier dying in the UK this week was a tragedy. But it was one guy. There's hundreds and hundreds of innocent people being killed all around the world by the Western military at the moment, and making all these people hate us. And we have big compassion for that one soldier and his family, which is good. But how about we have some compassion for all those other people that are getting killed and understand why they're pissed off with us? You know? How pissed off are we about that soldier? How pissed off are we about the Boston Marathon, 9/11, London bombings, you know, Bali bombings for the Australians, you know? We've all got our things that make us upset. Why can't we understand when we send a bomb over into someone else's country and land it on their village and kill lots of innocent people? I'm not talking about the terrorists. That's all bullshit. That one guy was a terrorist. That one guy was a terrorist. Those other 30, 40, 50, 100 people that were killed were all innocent people. You know, he just happened to be. It's exactly the same as if there's a criminal in the house next door to you right now. There's some criminal in the house next door. He's a murderer, a rapist, and a terrible, terrible person that really, you know, doesn't deserve to live. He's in the house next door to you right now, and the government send over a drone and drop a bomb in the house and blow that house away, and it kills you and your family and your neighbours and everybody else. Or kills everybody, your neighbours and your family and everybody else, and you're still alive. How do you feel? How are you going to react to that? You know, it's just incredibly inhumane that we are all so obsessed about ourselves and our group of people, and we can't look at these other people with the same compassion. You know, we need to start treating those people the way we want them to treat us. And if we're Christians or Muslims or whatever other religion we need to be, we need to behave like that. You know, do unto others as we want them to do to us, and all that other stuff that is in those books that we use as our excuse for killing everybody. Start listening to what's really in those books and start to treat those people the way we want them to treat us. Stop bombing their houses, kick in the front door, go in, get that arsehole, take him out, put him before a judge. You know, get on top of it. If there's people that are doing international crimes, let's catch them and do something with them. But let's stop killing all the innocent people, because that's what's perpetuating this shit. That's what's perpetuating. Nobody's hating on America because they're freedom, or Australia because of their freedom or anything. That's total bullshit, guys. Those people in the mountains of Afghanistan don't give a shit what freedoms we've got in America or Australia. They don't give a shit. They never thought about it. They're not interested. They just don't want us to throw bombs at them when they're sitting there having their dinner with their grandfather. That's all they care about. All that other bullshit and propaganda we get told about how they're jealous, or they just don't want us to have freedoms, or they want us all to become Muslims, all that sort of shit. They don't give a shit. They just want to do their little Muslim thing in their little village. They don't give a shit what we're doing in our countries. So we need to start opening our minds on a national level, international level, don't we? More videos coming soon.